Have you ever seen a creature so strange that even science struggled to decide what it was? Because more than 500 million years ago, in the black silence of the Cambrian seafloor, something crawled through the mud that looked less like an animal and more like a biological mistake. Flat, soft, boneless, almost featureless, like a strip of flesh dragged across the ocean floor. And yet hidden under that body was something terrifying. A mouth built like a conveyor belt of teeth. Its name was Odontogriphus, and for decades, paleontologists looked at its fossil and argued over the same question: what on earth are we even looking at? At first glance, it didn't make sense. No obvious shell, no obvious eyes, no heavy armor, no giant claws. Nothing about it looked like the kind of creature that should matter. But that was the illusion, because Odontogriphus may have been one of the earliest hints of a body plan that would echo through 500 million years of evolution. Which means this soft, flattened thing from the mud may be tied to the ancient origins of animals like snails, clams, and squid. And somehow, that only makes it worse. Picture the world it lived in. This was the Cambrian period, a time when complex life was exploding across Earth's oceans. Evolution wasn't refined yet. It wasn't elegant. It was wild, experimental, violent. Nature was building creatures with whatever worked. If a design survived, it stayed. If it failed, it vanished. And in that alien ocean, Odontogriphus slipped across the seabed like a quiet little horror. Its body was flattened and oval, pressed close to the bottom, reaching roughly 12.5 centimeters in length. Not gigantic, not fast, not dramatic, but some of the most unsettling creatures in natural history don't need size to disturb you. They just need the right tool. And Odontogriphus had one. On its underside sat a primitive feeding structure that looked like an early version of a radula, a ribbon-like organ covered in rows of teeth. Not one tooth, not two, but repeated rows, lined up with mechanical precision. As those teeth scraped across the seafloor, they raked food loose and pulled it inward. When the front teeth wore down, new ones formed behind them. Again, and again, and again. Like a living file. Like a mouth that never really stopped replacing itself. So while other creatures bit or swallowed, Odontogriphus scraped. It dragged that tooth-covered ribbon across ancient microbial mats and organic material coating the seafloor, shaving food off the substrate and feeding with cold, relentless efficiency. No roar, no chase, no attack. Just a soft body moving through the dark, grinding the seabed with rotating teeth. And that is exactly why scientists became obsessed with it. Because once researchers understood the mouth, Odontogriphus stopped looking like a random oddity. It started looking important, very important. Its anatomy suggests a strange combination of traits: a muscular underside for movement, gill-like structures around the margins, a simple digestive tract, and that radula-like feeding system underneath. That combination pushed paleontologists into a long and heated debate. Was it an early mollusk, a close relative of mollusks, a completely separate branch of animal evolution that just happened to build something similar? For years, nobody could agree. And that uncertainty is what makes this fossil so haunting. Because most fossils answer questions, this one created new ones. The more closely scientists looked, the less ordinary it became. Odontogriphus didn't fit neatly into the categories people wanted. It blurred boundaries. It sat in that uncomfortable zone between familiar and alien, recognizable enough to hint at modern animals, strange enough to feel like it came from a failed version of Earth. And maybe that's what unsettles us most about the Cambrian world. Not that it was primitive, but that it was creative. It was a time when life had not settled on the forms we now think of as normal. Bodies were still being tested. Mouths were being reinvented. Movement, feeding, defense, all of it was still in flux. Odontogriphus is a reminder that the history of life was never a clean ladder. It was a battlefield of experiments. Some became the future, some became fossils, and some, like this one, became something even stranger. A clue from a world that almost feels forbidden to look at for too long. Because once you strip away the scientific names and diagrams, what remains is deeply unsettling. A soft-bodied animal from 505 million years ago, crawling across the bottom of a dim prehistoric sea, dragging a ribbon of teeth beneath its body, feeding in silence, and possibly carrying inside that bizarre anatomy one of the earliest blueprints for a lineage that still survives today. So the next time you see a mollusk, a snail, a clam, an oyster, even a squid, remember this: their story may reach back to a creature that looked less like a modern animal, and more like something evolution tried in the dark, something flat, something tooth-lined, something almost impossible. And the most chilling part? Odontogriphus may not have been nature's mistake at all. It may have been one of its first successful drafts.